Hello, everybody, and welcome to Meet Someone Who, where you never know if we're on our first or sixth beer. E, welcome. Thank you for coming over, and thank you for making time for this.
Beer number one.
This experiment of mine. I fully appreciate it. You're one of my favorite people in the world. And how long have we known each other for?
Was it like 13 years now?
Beep! Amount of years. Because we're so fucking old. I don't want anybody to know. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Too long.
But also not long enough. So, okay, today's episode is titled Meet Someone Who is Terminally Ill. E. Why now are we talking about it?
I don't know. And I was thinking about it. We've never actually seriously talked about this.
So this is going to be interesting for me, to really dig into it with you.
Yeah.
Because interested to know what the hell is going on. Because you're 26, right? 27 as of last week.
Yeah.
Damn. 27. You're in the club. Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix.
I forgot.
We mentioned that in the last podcast too. Shout out to the 27 Club. So yeah, okay, you're 27 and you get this news and your life changes. It stays the same. What do we do?
Yeah. Well, I found out when I was, what was I? 20, 25, 24. And here I am, 27.
3 years.
3 years.
That's stewing time. We stew on that information.
Yeah. Things have definitely changed the way I see it. But then I think that, and then part of me is it's just like it was yesterday. I was sitting in the doctor's office and they told me, oh yeah, for sure. So what I have is something called Huntington's disease. Technically, everybody has this gene in your DNA. It's called the Huntington gene, but a normal person's would be small, and mine repeats too many times, so it's just like a mutation. And it is a neurological disease. To put it simply, they say it's like ALS, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's put together. But it's a lot more like Parkinson's, as in it's just uncontrollable movements, and a lot of confusion, anger, irritability. But basically, it just kind of eats away at your brain and your brain's ability to control your motor function. So a normal person would have anything below 40 repeats in a certain gene, and I am one of the lucky ones that has 42, so that makes me mutated.
Damn.
But it's genetic, so my mom has it. And then it's 50-50 chance passed down from your parents, so lucky 50.
Yeah. And your mom has 3 kids.
Yeah, my mom has 3 kids, but it's not like a flat 50-50, like
it's 50-50, 50-50,
yeah,
50-50,
yeah, it's 50-50 across the board. So I took a test. It's a simple blood test. Anyone could take it, but you really would have no reason to. If you did, yours would probably say something normal, like 10 or whatever. I don't know. And so they can take your DNA and they can count how many you have. I'm luckier. Some people have up to like 60. Those people are usually what they call juvenile Huntington. So it comes way earlier on, and they're usually when they're kids, and they don't usually live past like 25, 30. So so those people, the ones that have really high numbers, it's kind of like a correlation. The higher the number, the sooner you'll get it or the worse your symptoms are. So
that's what I was going to ask, if you have 42.
42 is on the lower, but it's kind of like a depressing cutoff. You're going to get it no matter what,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to the doctor, and I had to go to a neurologist since it's technically like a brain disorder. And he just pretty calmly told me that I was pretty positive. But seeing if it's from my mom's side, we're very similar people, and I just had a hunch that we would share that DNA because we share a lot of traits and personalities.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I guess I don't think about that day much because I don't know, it's not that significant to me.
It's more about you had a life before that knowledge and you had a life after that knowledge.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It's kind of like
I'll always spend forever comparing the two. Little Fires Everywhere on Hulu now.
We're getting paid for this?
We can start. Gotta start somewhere.
Thank God.
Thank God we're getting our start somewhere. Okay, so now we're living a life where we know this information. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but what's the timeline look like?
My mom is 60, and she's definitely mentally impaired, a little bit of physical. They usually say you last about 15-20 years after your symptoms really start.
Okay.
But it's kind of a toss up for everybody. It really is. It's just very, very wild. Nobody's symptoms really match each other. This is a very not new disease, but not known about, not researched. Most people who had it a long time ago, I'm not gonna lie to you, they just thought they were drunks who couldn't control their movements, because that's what it kind of looks like. It's a lot of like fidgeting and kind of like thrashing around, and most people,
it's like degenerative, right?
Yeah, like slurring your speech, and then they have dementia, so people think that they're literally just drunk. So a lot of people literally didn't know this was a thing until a long time, until recently. And it's very rare. I think there's only like 30,000 people in the US that have it. So most people don't really know. There's just not that much to learn about it, to be honest with you. So we're gonna say good, like, hopefully I won't get any symptoms till I'm like, maybe 50, and then maybe 15-20 years after that. But
those symptoms start at like 50.
Yeah, and then they say that, but that's the thing, they don't really know much about it. So I could have symptoms now and they really don't even know, so
right. And you just never know.
It's just hard to compare, like, to put what I have, the things I've been through, and what I have. I mean, I have depression, anxiety. I don't know if that's really from that or it's not. Nobody really knows. So I'm gonna have to cut my brain open after I'm done
and preserve it. I'll take half. Tyler will take the other. But 50 to 70 with ranging symptoms.
Yeah, for sure.
With quality of life differing.
I think 70 would be pushing it. Yeah.
Right.
70 you'll be in my old folks' home.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be switching you over and making sure you don't get those sores on your back.
Oh, thank
Now we talk about your life's timeline. Like, did that change? Did this knowledge change when you want to have kids? When you want to get married? I mean, you're married right now.
Yeah,
obviously.
and I was actually already married when I got the test, which is funny because I got married to my husband after, a year of knowing him. And
right.
I think most people, like, assume that I was sick.
That you got the test. Yeah. And you were just like, fuck it, let's do this.
And I'm like, nope, we just did that before.
For the viewers or readers or listeners or whoever you guys are, they eloped at South Lake Town Hall. I was one of the 5 people in attendance, and it was one of the magic. They waited till I got out of the clink. No, it just so happened that I got out of the clink right before, and it was a magical event.
But yeah, I definitely I don't know if I really wanted kids. I don't know. It was an option for me before. But now it's not really an option for me. Even the neurologist, when he told me that I was positive, was very, very adamant about the fact that this disease and my mutation was now I'm the 3rd generation that I know of. So he made it pretty clear that having another kid would, those kinds of things just mutate even more. And so that he was very nice. He's a very nice guy, but if you've ever met a neurologist, they're very, very cold.
Yeah.
Like the neurologist office is like the most depressing place in the world. They're just not very fun. They're like the accountants of the doctor world. And so he was very nice, but put it pretty blatantly as he could that, you know, if I was to have kids, they would have a very high chance, higher than 50-50 of having it. So that's not really in the cards for me anymore. I can do like in vitro fertilization, but to get my eggs tested and then replanted, whatever they call that, you know, put back in, it would be like a lot of money, like $30K in 2020 terms. I don't know.
Right.
And so, I don't know. We've just been like kind of playing it by ear.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to put my kid through that, especially, you know, having to see my mom sick right now. It's even if I could have a kid that was without that, it would be hard to leave them so early in life, you know, and have them watch me
you.
go through that. So it's not, people just say, oh, well, you can adopt, and oh, you know, you could do in vitro, you know, you can always spend the money, you know. There's some great people out there doing a lot of like you know, donations. Actually the Houston Astros player, his mom has it. Well, she just passed away, and then his wife is like some sports some really pretty blonde sports like newscaster, and so they're trying to do that and get a, you know, a kid. But it's more the fact of what comes after that, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get a kid, you know, and have a child, but what's the end game look like on that? That was the hard thing for me, and I don't think that's what most people understand is, yeah, I could adopt a kid at any time, anyone could do that, but giving a kid a full life is something I fear the most, you know.
Right, and then not knowing how expensive that your life is gonna get at that point.
Yeah, that's
when you want to provide
that too, especially since, you know, seeing my mom go downhill mentally and emotionally, it's been hard thinking that I would never want to do that to my kid, you know. So who knows? That's another question. Me and my husband have a rule where we every year on our anniversary around it, we ask each other, you know, what about the kid situation? You still good? And then we really don't touch it till the next year. So
really,
yeah, it's kind of a good way to, you know, yeah. So we just kind of talk about it, and then we move on the next year. My husband's much younger than me, so it's kind of nice.
How old is he?
He's 23.
And you are 27.
Yeah.
Yet again.
Yeah, thanks for really rubbing it in there.
Family plans, that was my next bullet point.
Yeah, family plans. Yeah, I mean, I'm already married, but my husband's very nice about everything, you know. I asked, you know, I told him when I first found out, I'm like, well, this is your chance. I'm like,
you can dip.
You can dip. Like, you know, you gotta tell me now, because I won't tell anyone. We'll just be like, oh, you know, whatever.
You know, that gay shit that's like, God gives his strongest battles or toughest battles to strongest soldiers. Tyler looked like he was ready for life, like hard mode, like let's go. Like he would be bored if it was just too easy.
He plays it in hard mode.
He plays it in hard mode. He doesn't have to, but he's doing it with a smile, and I love the guy, Tyler. Shouts out to Tyler.
I mean, I think he knew, because my mom was definitely a handful when we first met, and, you know, he took care of her and, like, you know, helped her out. Yeah, oh yeah. And so I think he knew that might be an option, and I think it helped that, you know, his dad had just had a major stroke. I think that was only a couple of years before we met, and he was taking care of him. So
he's not new to.
No, he definitely, yeah. And I think he definitely realized, you know, he's no stranger to really taking care of somebody, you know. Right. You haven't really taken care of somebody until you've, you know, fed them and
scrubbed their back.
Yeah,
and shit like
pretty
that.
much. So
okay, so we picked a good one.
Yeah, we'll see if he dips. He can just check me in at like a hospital. That's cool.
Listen, we'll get to that.
Too good though, but that's why I have you to pull the plug.
Right. Exactly. I'll go buy those pills. Remember on Grey's Anatomy? I don't have enough money to get the pills to kill my wife.
Yeah, that would be you though.
Oh no, I'd beg on the street. I told somebody said, when are we going to Norway? I was like, I thought it was Sweden that has that 25-cent suicide machine, coin slot suicide machine. To Sweden we go.
Yeah, no.
Would that ever be a thing for you? Would you ever consider that the future? What if the future is that's a crazy easy thing to do?
Maybe. I just I don't think anyone would let me at that point because I don't think I'd be that like, coherent.
Do you pass before it gets so bad to where you can't function, or like what happens?
No, definitely not.
Like you're gonna go a long time where you're like
have
to be taken care of.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely something that's like Alzheimer's or like even like I don't want to like compare it to AIDS, but like nobody really dies of AIDS. You die of something related to AIDS
Because
exactly. So people usually die of just they don't get enough nutrients because you actually a big part of motor control is actually your throat. So
Really?
you can't a lot of people have like problems eating because you like choke because your throat is such a big muscle, and that's something that your brain actually controls a lot of. And then just the typical organ failure, your body's just, it's basically just deteriorating your brain. So
and your brain just happens to control everything. So
yeah, sadly. So it's pretty
that's crazy how they can call something like that a brain disease. Like that's not fair.
And that's
every part of my body's going to be fucked.
Pretty much. Yeah. And it's weird because most people don't see it as like a neurological disease. But it pretty much just like eats away at your brain. So it is what it is.
I hate to segue this sharp left, but or right, I guess I would say sharp right. Are you religious? Do you believe in God? And if there is a God, like, why have you ever been like, why me? I'm a why me, pick me bitch about my bipolar all the time, so
I don't know. There's something out there, maybe. I hope, because it seems depressing to think there's nothing out there. I'm one of those agnostic people. I know you can, but
you don't claim to know, yes or no.
Yeah. I definitely think why me? It's just kind of like, if this was just like one thing, I'd be like, okay, we can go with this. Like if I was some rich, like, baseball player and that was just my one thing, okay, great. I mean, no offense, man, but this it's just like the icing on top of everything else. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. So yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Does it affect everything you think of? Like, is it always in the back of your mind? Like, that ice cream looks good. Oh wait, I'm gonna die at 16.
Yeah, it's more like. Yeah, it does. It used to a lot more. I guess I'm getting better about it, but
like even like small things like fucking I'm getting an extra large because I'm not like, not to put it lightly, but like, yeah, do we think that way now? Are we indulgent?
Yeah, kind of. It's more like now I do things a lot. Like I do a lot of like crafts and like small things because I know one day like I'll lose the ability to do that kind of thing, and that's why I hate my job and I hate going to work, whatever, capitalist, but I do love like being a cake decorator because I know one day I won't be able to do that kind of thing, and so
you're creating with your hands, like,
and that's something that I'll probably
that's beautiful. That's cute. Wow.
And that's why I've I've taken up like embroidery and some small stuff, and like I want to learn how to like even like crazy stuff, like I want to learn how to like skeet shoot or whatever it's called, where you shoot
I still want that
pigeons.
Rosalia thing you did.
No, exactly. But I do work more on like stuff like that I think that I'll never one day I'll lose the ability to, my hands will probably shake, whatever. It's just the fact of I want to try it now, and then maybe one day I'll be like, oh well, I did so much of that before, I don't even miss it. Maybe that's what I think of.
At least you won't regret
Yeah,
not
exactly.
using your hands.
Yeah, uh-huh.
You could be on a computer all day typing and shit and be
God.
like, good thing I typed my whole life.
And I definitely, I was never a desk job person before, but I'm definitely not now. So
Yeah, no, we said fuck it.
Uh-uh.
Do you plan on traveling? Do you plan on like going to France or doing a bakery tour there, like working as a, pasta
Well, and
what
this
do they
is,
call it?
and that's the thing that,
apprentice?
and that's the thing that I want to
When chopped.
if anyone ever, I wish, if anyone ever listens to this podcast and hears me and thinks of the one thing, do never tell anyone. You're just gonna have to live like you're dying, because no matter what, the next day I still gotta wake up and go to work. Like, unless you're gonna fuel my trip to go to France and like, learn all this great stuff and see all these great places, I still gotta make money and, live. And so it's like, how do I, that song is so bullshit, that country song, live like you're dying or whatever, because
you got 86 400 seconds in a day to turn it
because guess what, we all gotta pay our bills and be an adult even if we're dying. So
you gotta put your shoes on one at a time.
Oh man. And so that's the annoying part, is the fact that people go, well, you just gotta live life to the fullest. Well, I only have $5, so I really can't, and so I don't know. I would be asking you the same question. Do you have any plans to go to France? Because like,
no, I'm asking as a someone who watches a lot of Food Network, and they're like, I just got back from my 2-year stint as the person who rolls the pasta dough for this
and
guy.
I'm gonna break it to you, those people are rich.
Are they rich?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're dying or not.
I didn't know. I thought they just got dropped off in some country with a backpack and
maybe I'm on the
heart full of dreams.
I'm on the wrong bus. So
no,
it's just more the fact that it's just,
it's not realistic.
Well, you gotta, live life to the fullest. Yeah, man, we all gotta do that. But, it doesn't change anything.
So you could just say, fuck it, we're all dying. Like,
yeah, pretty
go
much.
Tell somebody else.
And it's just like, oh, well, every day you just gotta appreciate. Well, yeah, but everybody does.
They're like,
that.
no shirt, Sherlock.
So that's the hard part, is explaining that to people, and they go, well, you're only 27. Okay, man, but I'm gonna be 27 tomorrow, and I still only have $5. So I don't know, It's more the fact of, I guess.
Would you say this is all made you more of a pessimist or an optimist?
Definitely a pessimist.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's made me appreciate things. I think it's definitely made me see people differently, just because I guess I have what, they would, I don't have that bad of it, but I guess I would have like what they would call an invisible illness.
Right.
And my coworker has one. She has Hashimoto's, and I can see how hard it is on her, and I see that you don't really notice that looking at her. But that's an autoimmune disease, and those are just, it's hard on people. And so even if we all look normal, most people probably have a lot of pain, and they're, or they're really struggling with something, and I, now I feel for them, so I think it's made me a little more empathetic, but it's definitely made me a little more pessimistic when it comes to, like I said, don't ever talk to me about living my life to the fullest. You can just fuck off right now. So unless you have money to give me,
yeah, no,
but
okay. Unless you're funding me, fucking me, yeah. Or
grass or ass.
It's feeding me, fucking me, and financing me. Financing me. And then you can keep your mouth shut.
Yeah,
sister.
Pretty much. So, but yeah, it's definitely made me a little more pessimistic. Yeah, it's been hard, and it's definitely a roller coaster. Most people, you think, oh, it's hard at first, and then you get better, but it's definitely an up and down kind of thing. Some days I feel like I said, like I'm sitting right back in the chair, and then some days I feel like, oh, I feel great. We can get through this. Let's do it. Let's, do whatever. But
So you don't wake up every day being like, thank you, God, for this extra special day.
No, not at all. No, sorry to break it to everybody.
You wake up and you're like, this shit again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
So getting into that, depression, anxiety, worse, better? This is all relative new information for you.
Worse. I mean, better due to modern medicine, but worse just in the sense of some days I hit lows and I think, is this even worth it?
Yeah.
For what I'm going to have to, end up with? Is the struggle really worth the even more depressing end struggle? But and I got tested because I wanted to know. I'm one of those people who just, I needed to know because I couldn't just sit there and not know. But I did that a lot to get into some clinical trials and to really try, to get ahead of things.
Be hopeful.
And I thought that it would make me more hopeful, but it definitely didn't. Sometimes I don't regret it, but it definitely didn't have the same effect that I thought it was gonna have on me.
Right, but at least you could say you did something.
Yeah, and I did, and I tried to get into a few clinical trials, but the sad thing is I'm too young and not sick enough. So they said my burden of illness was not great enough. I know the one thing I didn't get was I wasn't sick enough, but and then with COVID and the pandemic, things really hit a stop, and that's been kind of depressing because I know that they've had to stop all those clinical trials, and that's for a rare disease, that's it. That
was your last chance.
I mean, that those are my last chances. Yeah, there's always going to be a new drug, but yeah, those are the things that luckily it is kind of like Parkinson's, and Parkinson's is a little more common, so it has more of a funding when it comes to that kind of thing. Is we can kind of just hop on the Parkinson's drugs, but and then I found out through some Facebook groups that I'm friends with that they had just done a couple-year trial and it didn't really work. So it's just kind of a blow. The clinical trials are definitely a blow. They are just like Grey's Anatomy, made them out to be.
The drama.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. They're very intense. They're very serious. They're very depressing. They're very, they got those pretty spot on. So
they probably really tear you down when you start one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, do not get your hopes up. Like,
oh, yeah. And they were real. You're either getting the placebo and nobody knows. So, those are kind of, those are not as fun or hopeful as I thought they were going to be. So here to, Grey's Anatomy was lying.
Check in every few years, see what the new research is doing, and
pretty much, yeah. They do some crazy stuff like gene splitting. They can like split your genes open and like take out that part that's wrong with me. But honestly, I feel like that's something that person who creates it is going to get murdered for. Is one of those like, that's crazy far advanced,
Yeah,
because
the water car.
Yeah, oh yeah, because gene splitting would cure any kind of
disease like that.
Any kind of DNA related disease, and that's insane. So, it
would be too powerful.
I'm just hoping for a good drug, pretty much.
Something that takes away some symptoms.
Yeah, or just
life easier.
Slows the decline. Yeah. I would be pretty happy with a pill or whatever I had to do, injection with that just slowed the decline. I would take that for sure.
Okay, so there's hope.
That'll be the hope for my generation for sure.
Hope maybe you see some grandkids or something like that.
Yeah, you're whatever. See yours.
Yeah. Either one. All right, well, you got into the clinical trial. That was what I was going to talk to you about. It was touchy because I remember we went to Houston to go sign up for that. And that was a little road trip we took.
That was one that they do every year. So they just they basically just take a bunch of history about you because they just try to like track everyone, and then just, your symptoms and everything. Like I said, they don't know anything about it, so it's just research at this point.
Your relationship with your family, how's this affected your relationship with your mom, your dad, your brother and sister? Do they know if they have it? Are they ever going to get tested? Do they have kids? What's that like?
So I pretty much am pretty honest about it with everybody. except my family. Nobody in my family knows aside from my husband.
Your mom doesn't know?
No, I didn't tell her. It's just, and she, told me, you don't have kids, Emma, but I couldn't put her through that guilt. I'm hoping that she never finds out. So
Wow.
I just, that'd be hard because it's not really her fault, but it would feel like her fault, And so, and I mean, I definitely never blame my mom. She had no idea. My grandfather had it, but nothing was really known about it until, later on. So my mom didn't know she had it before she had kids. So, no judgment on that part. But so nobody really knows. I've been tossed around the idea of telling my brother, but we're really close. But I don't know, maybe one day. My brother and sister are very, we're just gonna, live life to the fullest, whatever, and just if it happens, it happens. So they chose not to get tested. I don't know how anyone lives that life. I mean, I consider myself pretty just winging it in life, but that is just crazy winging it in life. So
you would never go through life not knowing.
No
Especially
way.
knowing that your mom has it.
Well, I mean, I might go through life not knowing, but like my sister has kids, and I mean, no judgment to her, but I could never, ever, ever have kids and just kind of toss it up to chance. I mean, 50-50 is not great.
And you said that at that generation it would be even more.
Yeah. So luckily, my sister's kids, my niece and nephew, are old enough where they're not really showing signs of juvenile huntington, so I'm assuming they don't have that, but which is great. But you never know in the future. I don't know. My grandfather had like 7 kids, and so far my mom has it, my aunt has it, and my uncle had it, and he actually took his own life because he found out he had it. So that's 3 of 7. That's kind of 50-50. Yeah, I don't know,
And the others, have they not been tested?
One of my aunts got tested. She's negative. And then
Wow. How do you think she feels?
How
would you feel?
I hear that there's a lot of survivors guilt. Yeah, and it's hard, I think, just knowing that you don't, but she has a daughter, and my cousin has a bunch of kids now, so I'm sure she's happy, but I'm sure there is some survivors guilt.
If she doesn't have it, can she pass it on?
No. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So my cousin is totally in the clear.
Wow.
Yeah. So it kind of stops there. So I see a lot of people on the message board, Facebook and stuff, talk about how they want to stop spreading, and I hate thinking of it like that, but I kind of see it. You wouldn't want to pass that on. It's not something that, this isn't just like your kid's deaf and they just have to learn how to
sign.
Yeah, I mean that's but this is serious,
a mutation.
Yeah, and so I hear a lot of people talk about that, how they're just gonna we'll just toss up the chance, but oof. Obviously I didn't have a very good toss with chance because I got it, so right. I don't.
And you decided to get tested so early. Like, what stopped you from? Did your mom offer to get you tested?
No, she. Oh no.
When did you find out? How old were you?
They usually don't. My mom has always been really open with me about it. About I didn't know about my uncle for a long time, but. She's always been pretty open about the fact that it could be a possibility. Just kind of like, it wasn't really like a serious all the time talk. It was just kind of here and there. I always knew it could be a thing. But once I got married, she, set us down. I think she was worried we were going to have kids, which, okay. But she's, set us down and told me that she was positive. And so then I just thought, I might as well get tested because I wanted to know. But they usually don't let you test until you're 18 because it's just kind of a serious thing.
Yeah.
Obviously they probably have a lot of, it's hard. It's hard to face that.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of mental illness come from this, from that diagnosis?
I don't know if it comes from the diagnosis itself, but definitely the later stages. One of the symptoms is like depression, like anxiety, things like that. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I don't know if mine's just the normal,
Depression, anxiety that,
that's just comes from
our
every day.
generation
Yeah.
is just fond
So,
of.
like I said, I don't know. We'll have to see.
If it gets more severe.
Yeah, or if it just, continues. I guess we'll never know. If
So you're treating your depression and anxiety right now.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Good.
Good. How long have you been struggling with these? 'Cause from what I can remember, we've been doing this since we were 17. 18.
Yeah, honestly, forever. So
So,
as
like, 10
long
years.
as long as I can remember, it's always been kind of a thing that is just in the back of my head. Like, yeah.
And what's your depression and anxiety look like? Did it affect your grades? Did you not eat? Did you self-harm?
Yeah, I didn't self-harm until, later in life, but that just stemmed from a bad breakup in relationship. But it definitely was just looking back on it now. It's always been a close friend. And now knowing that, when I got diagnosed with ADHD, they say that really goes hand in hand, especially with women, young girls. They even say like self-harm is big with, girls that have ADHD who don't get treated and
don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely ADHD in women is more of a self-confidence thing, because we can't really live up to society's expectations, and it's so hard for us to know, to not know why. And we tend to just develop techniques to just kind of live with it and kind of cover it up. And so it's definitely just always been there. Some people just find it later in life, but the people who know what I'm talking about, it's like a imaginary friend that you've been living with for all your life,
right?
And so I don't know if I don't think that that's kind of a part of anything, but
that was just something you were blessed with on a whole other.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the why me comes in play, because I'm just like, oh.
So you're more why me about if I'm here and I'm here to make the best of it at this time that I have.
It's more like, okay, like, can we just pick one? Like, why do I have to, like, have all of them together? So
God just had like so many just
I
things.
swear.
He threw in,
yeah. And my family has a really high like cancer rate. There's actually like a hospital in Minnesota that has all of our family like tree like mapped out.
Right.
Because we have so much like cancer in our family. So I have the lucky
2-for-1 special.
Yeah. So yeah. Like I said, I don't really know.
How does that affect you when you go to Chipotle and you're getting your favorite bowl? Do you get the sour cream even though it's a bunch of more calories? Do you say fuck it every time?
No, not really, because I still gotta live 27 years.
Right. That's
what
what I'm saying. Are we saying fuck it to everything?
No, definitely not. No. Some things.
You just might have an extra beer here and there.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely like.
Speaking of, beer number 2 is still.
We got a double on that one though. No, we're definitely not throwing it. I mean, we're not dying tomorrow, so like I said, we still gotta wake up. So, and I'm gonna be pissed if I die of something other than this, because I'd be livid.
God, could you imagine?
And then that's what people always tell me. They're like, well, you could walk out the door and get hit by a bus. I'm like, yeah, no shit, so could you, but what does that have to do with me? It's like the whole like, you should be happy your kids are starving in Africa. That doesn't make anybody feel better.
Yeah, no, you're not helping anybody out by the comparison. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So we've talked about you and using your hands more and being more creative and having more hobbies and having a job like baking and being a cake decorator is important to you because life's too short, or
it's more like it'd be, everybody has a thought in the back of their head like, one day I won't be able to do this, they think, but I know that, so I'm just choosing, I think, to do it now because I know that one day I won't be able to.
You used to be a manager at Kroger, the same Kroger you're at now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why step down? Was it because of the diagnosis?
Yeah, it was part of it. It was really hard for me at first to work so many hours, and it was actually really hard for me to talk to customers because people would, at first I was very angry. It was so hard for me to talk to people about like stupid petty shit when I knew that, like, you know, bigger things were happening. Not even me, it just, people are dying all over. Like I said, it made me way more empathetic. It's just people are dying everywhere and you're worried about fucking rolls. But
no, right.
It's just now, I think now I've shifted my focus to, I see why people want what they want, because, you know, life is short. But, you know, so why would I, you know, of course I want the, you know, the things I want. But I definitely, it was definitely hard for me to work so many hours knowing that. And it was more the fact of, you know, did I love that job? No. But did I think I was good at it? Yeah. And did I see a future with it? Yeah. But I knew that it would take me a long time to get there, and I knew that I didn't have that
People
time.
at Kroger have like, it took me 30 years to get to this.
Yeah. And I knew
we don't have 30 years to
and I didn't
spend on that.
I kind of had to prioritize the fact of I could have spent 30 years doing that, but I didn't want to, because I knew that if I spent, you know, most people could work 30 years and then retire and spend time with their family, but I don't have that option. So, you know, I decided that I never really was a prestige and power and, you know, kind of person, but now even more so I'm not. That none of that stuff really matters to me, you know.
You just want to be comfortable.
Yeah, and I like, you know, I like being good at jobs, and I it would be nice to be the, you know, boss or whatever, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care about any of that kind of stuff. It was more the fact of what I did, not really where I got to in the job. And even now more so, I don't want that. You know, that's not something I've ever wanted. And now I'm just like, you know, they said, well, you could have, you know, had your own store or whatever, but why, you know, and why would I don't want to wake up in 10 years and think, oh shit, I only have 20 good years left and I got to work for, you know,
working 60 hours a week.
Yeah, 90% of it. That's never anything I really wanted. So yeah, I stepped down, and luckily I kind of fell into cake decorating. It's, you know, something that just happened. But
as a friend, your mental health has gotten a lot better.
You think so?
Since your step down, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
We were kind of spiraling there for a second.
Yeah, I definitely used work as a crutch, and I still do, but it's more the fact of
you can leave every day being
yeah, for sure.
Cakes are fine.
Well, and
fine.
Yeah, and that was the hard thing, that, you know, that job had a lot of pressure on it, and it was a lot of responsibility, and it was hard on me, you know. And it was,
you could never leave. I would show up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're there.
And it was, you had to take it home, and then, you know, being in like human resources, it was hard because people came to me for stuff that I couldn't fix, and, you know, everybody's really struggling out there, and it was just depressing. HR burnout is real.
Yeah.
It is a monster. And so mentally it was tough for me to carry all of that. So stepping down was definitely, I never regret that. I miss that money, but I don't regret it at all. No way.
Good.
Yeah, no way.
That's good to hear.
Uh-huh.
Well, last question, because we're wrapping in on about an hour here, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. But what was I going to ask? Oh, my God. Oh, okay. Do you think, now that you know this about yourself, is happiness going to be sweeter? Do things taste better? Does colors brighter? Or does it take more for that happiness now? Or does it come easier? Do the little things like a butterfly, like, make your, you know, just feel good? Does feeling good come easier to you now because you know life's really short and you know you don't have a lot of time?
I'm gonna give you a really depressing answer. No, not at all. And I hope that one day that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's
to get
a
there.
goal. But right now, I don't know if I'm just in this I mean, you know, it's been 3 years or so since I found out, but it's still like a fresh wound. And if anything, you know, things seem more depressing. You know, mentally I might be doing better, but it's more about the
Is
fact
it like
that
a cloud?
yeah, and it's more the fact that you see something nice and then but you think I'm missing out on all this other stuff. And or I'll never, that's nice, but think of all the other things I'm never going to get to see. But like I said, that hopefully that's the goal, is to just be happy. And I think that that'll come in time, but it's more the fact of yeah, it's just hard to think of that, that stuff is so good and then one day it'll be gone kind of thing. I think of more of the stuff that I'm going to have to give up. Not even give up, but I'm probably still in the more of the bitter stage of things, but hopefully one day we'll see.
Grief takes many forms.
Yeah, and it's definitely an up and down kind of thing. It's never silent. And it's not a straight up uphill. It's a roller coaster.
Well, E, I cannot thank you enough for your time and your vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's going to appreciate this perspective on life. And, I love you. And, I'm going to spend every second of every day loving you. And one of my soulmates.
Oh.
Don't cry too much, E. It's okay. It's okay. Well, we will be catching up with you probably forever. So this is not the last you'll hear of E. We probably have many more episodes to go, many more topics. We've been friends for 10 years, so nothing is off limits. She was there when I gave myself a cigarette burn, so maybe we'll get into that one day. Or she was on the phone with me when that happened. But yeah, anything else you need to say, E? Anything for our viewers? Anything for people with Huntington's? Maybe a little positive message? Maybe a fuck it? Anything?
No, just, for everybody listening, I know I probably look normal to you. Everyone else probably looks normal. Just remember,
Everybody's got something.
We're probably all fighting something, so be nice.
Tip well.
Please, dear God.
Tip well or stay home. All right, well, love you, E. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.